I'm fairly certain the president understands that tariffs are paid by the American people, that this is a tax on the American people. So publicly, I think he's playing a bit of a rope-a-dope here. He's saying it's fine, no big deal, but behind the scenes, privately, I think he's working pretty hard to eliminate them as much as he can.
Yeah, and that's what he wants to do. I mean, he wants to have free trade. And what's going on here with the tariffs is they are a tax which does go to the government, so there is some benefit to the government there. And one thing, Graham, that we do have a benefit of is the dollar keeps getting stronger, and that makes the imports less expensive, so it may almost be a wash here, depending on what happens going forward.
It's interesting. And they're also referring to, of course, the U.S.-Mexico Canada Accord. And the markets, this was signed, sealed, and delivered officially, but I guess maybe the markets had already built it in, because today it's kind of flat, kind of sideways. I think everybody's waiting for the results of the G-Trump meeting.
That's right, Graham. The Mexico-Canada agreement is pretty much done deal, so to speak. It's been signed and so forth. And at what point I'm a little bit worried about Congress. It does have to go through Congress. And what if they want to show some power and say, no, we're not going to approve this, we want changes? It would throw everything out of kilter there. But it is something that is positive. I think it's going to help with the negotiation with China going forward.
And it depends on which Congress this is thrown in front of. A Nancy Pelosi Congress would probably try and reject the thing just to make the president look bad. Of course, Paul Ryan Congress in the House and that leadership, the Republican leadership, obviously would want to give it some imprimatur. But we were looking at the markets this week and the Federal Reserve, and Jerome Powell comes out and says that it's looking like we're nearing what we call neutral interest rates. I'm still kind of scratching my head on that one, exactly what he means by neutral interest rates. The markets responded in a positive way. Neutral interest rates, do you have any kind of quantifying definition of that, or is it just kind of a sweet spot in the minds of the Federal Reserve?
I think that's a good saying, a sweet spot in the Federal Reserve where we feel comfortable with this. We don't need to raise anymore. We don't need to reduce, obviously, but it's where they feel comfortable. And they have a lot of things going on. It was nice. He spoke at the Economic Club in New York. The market was up 600 points. And Graham, what's really good to see is we didn't give it back on the next couple of days. So now we're looking at, again, what happens tomorrow. So we could have some nice boost in the market here next Monday.
New tax brackets are here. I know you've been waiting for them.
Oh, yeah.
And there are 7 of them. And, they'd range from, what, 10% on the low side to 37% on the high side. There's good and bad in this. I mean, to boil down, in my opinion, on paper, at least, everybody pays. And so I like that. What I don't like is that some Americans are paying 10% and some Americans are paying 37%. That doesn't seem quite fair.
Well, Graham, I got to say that's the way that it's always been. The rich do pay more. That's one thing I don't like seeing is people say, oh, the rich get off and so forth. They do not get off. And, Graham, what also has happened is a lot of the deductions have been taken away for the rich. So the brackets may look similar, but the rich will be paying more taxes in 2019, and they better increase their estimated payments in 2018. If not, they're going to owe Uncle Sam a big tax bill.
Right, and you put down there $160,000, $170,000, and the government, I guess, defines that as rich, Brent, but anybody who lives in New York City understands that $160,000, $170,000 does not qualify you as rich, and that's part of the problem too.
They got to move to Arkansas, someplace where that is a lot of money, obviously. It's the same thing in California. It's also, that's not really rich, and it is kind of difficult to deal with, but I do think the government will see, and I'm waiting for this, Graham, where we see the revenue increase of the government, because everybody thinks it's going to be less. I think it's going to be more revenue coming to the government from 2018.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, that's been the trend lately. But I think the fair thing in this country, the right thing to do would go to a flat tax or a consumption tax or no income tax at all. I think that would be the constitutional thing to do. Brent, thanks.
Yeah.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.